Hello, I'm Tom Lodziak. In this video, we're going to give a detailed tutorial on the forehand loop. Now this is where your opponent gives you a backspin ball. It could be a backspin serve, it could be a push, it could be a chop, and you attack aggressively with a forehand topspin shot. This is an essential shot if you want to become a more advanced table tennis player. The tips in this video come from Ferenc Horvath. Ferenc, during his playing days, was a top player in Hungary. He's now a full-time professional table tennis coach, really strong on the technical side of the game, and he's got very clean, very smooth technique himself. So if you want to get much better at doing a forehand loop, then keep watching.
The racket's position should be underneath the ball because we need to counter the backspin effect. A common error to do an automatic backswing, which creates a big distance from the ball, and the incoming angle is just way too flat to execute a brush upwards. So the start position will be really deep. We need to keep a low lean down upper body position. We need to bend the right knee as much as we can, and we lower the racket's position, not way below the table, but below the ball. When you execute your forehand opening up loop, you need to start swinging from the underarm and wrist. This is what could be accelerated the fastest way. This is much faster than your shoulder could ever be. So you can avoid a general mistake by swinging your arm up using your shoulder muscles. That should be avoided. Make sure that you swing up your wrist and elbow, and if it's accelerated into a certain speed, it will take your arm up. In general, when it's heavy backspin and the arc is very low, you need to open up quite a lot so you are able to brush the side of the ball. When you start swinging up your wrist elbow, you need to make sure that you don't slap your elbow up and that you don't rotate the racket angle. Rotating the racket angle could end up different contact points on the ball, and it will alter the trajectory of your loop by much. So you pick your open angle, and through the almost very end of your forehand loop, you keep it same angle, okay? You need to follow through with your shoulder. So in this case, you could tell the ball much better where it should go to, where it should land. And the end is somewhere here up at your forehead. And beware not to cross it to the left shoulder, because in this case you would create a lot of side spin instead of top spin, which will not be useful against heavy chop balls. So you make sure that you work on your right side without crossing the racket at your face. One thing that could stop you having a good relaxed shoulder support is keeping the racket too close to the body. Everyone can try. Pulling the racket in makes your shoulder pretty useless. You will not feel any possibility to support your loops. So you need to make sure that your looping action is quite far from the body, and then you get a really released and really relaxed shoulder action. We need to try to execute the forehand opening up loop on the ball's arc's highest point, which, in case you get a heavy backspin, is pretty much close to the table. So most of the time the ball's highest point is at the end of the table, and right after that it's falling down quite fast. So one of the most common mistakes is that you take too much distance from the table. So make sure you hug the table, you come really close, you take your position. Most likely your left feet is under the table, it's totally alright, and your body is rotated out and pointing away to the right. In this case, the highest point will be just in front of you. This is what we want. The forehand, wrist and elbow action should be pretty much maximized. So there is no room here to slow it down. If you slow it down, you lose speed, you lose spin. So the forehand, wrist, elbow action should be pretty much as fast as possible. And the key to get enough power to it is how your body weight and shoulder adds on into the action. So you need much more force being transferred inside from the right leg, which sends the body weight in towards the opponent, creating a little extra power towards the direction you want to play to. We don't use raw power, we use the same technique. We don't slap the shoulder up, it doesn't help, but the whole weight transfer and the hip rotation should be faster. So the average power topspin looks like this. The force is applied upwards, and in case you want to finish it, you need to keep the speed, and you need to be faster and much more dynamic with your hip and your knees. So in case you want to hit a little more aggressive with your topspin, don't change the angles, don't change the shoulder power. The power comes from the technique. So you need a released elbow wrist, a really relaxed shoulder, and then you need to maximize your rotation.
Thank you very much for watching, and a big thank you to Ferenc for sharing his forehand loop tips. If you want more information about Ferenc and his coaching services, then go to Ferenc's website at paragontabletennis.co.uk. I'll have lots more videos coming soon, so I'll see you then. Bye bye.